Hello,
Blog
everyone.
Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me for yet another episode of Amethyst Angel Light Radio. I hope you all are doing wonderful. I hope that you all had a chance to do your homework. Last week we picked a card. We did some homework. We wanted to see what was coming up here, what messages were coming in for us, and what Spirit wanted us to work on. And the answer was for us to work on having fun, getting in touch with our playfulness. So I hope that, you all got to do something fun. If not, it's not too late to try this week. I know we had the full moon that happened last night, or actually Saturday night. So I know that a lot of us might be moon sensitive. We may be feeling a little bit groggy. We may be feeling a little bit drowsy or tired, or some of us might be feeling really emotional. That's normal too, you guys. Don't underestimate the connection that we have with the moon. I mean, the same way that the moon pulls the ocean tides and waves, it's going to pull at our emotions or feelings or heartstrings. So just allow for whatever that's been coming up to come up, instead of burying it down, instead of fighting it. Let yourself feel it, and then from there, you can work on the release so that you're not holding on to it anymore. And, this is all kind of connected with today's topic. I mentioned release and releasing that which we've been holding on to emotionally. I have had many, many, many people reach out to me since last week's show, some during private readings, some just kind of sending, private messages and wanting to ask a quick question on the topic. And so I felt really moved to dedicate today's show to the topic of curses. A lot of people are feeling as if they are cursed. So I want to discuss this topic. I want to talk about, some situations that come up in people's lives and, why we tend to maybe attract, I don't know, how can I say this without being judgmental, why we may attract healers or mystics or psychics who want to tell us that there's some curse on us, because some people come across it so much that they begin to feel like, oh my goodness, this must be true, because why are so many psychics saying this to me? And if I look at my life and I look at how difficult things have been, it only makes sense. Like, that's why I've been single for so long, or that's why I've been struggling with my finances, or that's why I can't seem to get ahead, or that's why I can't seem to move out of where I'm at, or to leave this job, or to find a job. And people begin to really believe this. They begin to really believe that there is some force working against them. And then there are people on the other end of the spectrum who think all of it is garbage, all of it is baloney, like there's no such thing. So I'm going to be very honest about my opinions. Again, these are just my beliefs. This is what has been true to me based on what I have known and what I have experienced. And so actually also I want to ask station manager to make sure she's keeping an eye out for people calling in, because I am not connected through the computer. So if you are calling in, I can't see you, but I can see your questions if you comment them at Amethyst Angel Light on Facebook. So if you're calling in, I'm going to go ahead and send a note here. Can you please connect callers? So we'll see if there's a way around that. If you want to ask me a question, if you're listening, go to Amethyst Angel Light on Facebook, and there's a post there for the radio show saying that I've gone live, and to comment any questions there. So, be sure to go on there and comment questions if you're trying to call and if you're unable to get in. Hopefully we'll be able to chat on the phone. I'm not sure how that's going to work. or how I'd be able to bring that on. But otherwise, we can at least communicate in that way. So if you do want to ask questions, and I'm pulling up the page now so I'll be able to see it here. And we'll be able to discuss it. We'll be able to talk about it. I'll be able to answer your questions on the topic of curses. And also, just in general, if you have questions that you would like to do a reading on, if you want me to pull cards for you, that is something that I am able to do and that I am offering here on the show. So first, I want to talk about the topic of what is a curse, obviously. A curse is going to be some kind of magic or spell or energetic bind that's been placed over you that's blocking you from your abundance, that's blocking you from your power, that's blocking you from your happiness and joy. And no matter what you do, you can't break out of it because there's some force or energy working against you, making sure that you're miserable, making sure that you're suffering, and just making sure that you're stuck just in every single way possible. And there's just no way out of it. And commonly, what the cure here is for this is that someone is going to charge you money, and you're going to pay them to burn candles and to do prayers and to do energy work to release you from this bind, to release you from this negative energy that you've been imprisoned by. And it can cost a lot of money. And I've had people tell me they've been quoted prices anywhere from $150 to like in the thousands, which is a pretty obvious motivation, if you think about it, of why a lot of readers will tell you that you're cursed or that you're blocked. And they'll freak you out. They'll scare you. They'll tell you how serious it is. They'll tell you how much in danger you're in and how you have to do this. And if you don't, you're going to, just never be happy and suffer. So you better come up with the money and you better pay it. Well, guess what happens? You come up with the money and you pay it, and they'll come back at you with, oh, I lit the candles and I did a prayer, but the candle exploded. Or, they're fighting back harder and I'm going to have to put even more energy, so it's going to cost more money. And you're in this vicious cycle, handing over money to this person for months, possibly, potentially, some people for years, trying to have these curses removed. So that's basically how the process is. And if you're hearing this, if it resonates with you, definitely fall into this cycle with your reader. I will never, ever say another reader is wrong. I will never, ever say that another reader doesn't know what they're talking about or that they're not, quote-unquote, strong enough or, quote-unquote, powerful or gifted or what have you. I'm never going to judge the reading of another person, okay? But I can tell you that as far as curses go, as far as energy work goes, people ask me, is it possible? Does it exist? On one level, I can say it is incredibly, incredibly rare that someone is that powerful to where they can access your energy or, to do any kind of work against you in that way. It's incredibly rare that somebody is strong enough or powerful enough energetically to harness your energy or to connect with you, to be able to negatively influence you. And even then, even when you are in a situation with a person who has the ability to access your energy or send negativity your way or try to block you, this is not someone who's going to do well for very long. Okay, this is not someone who is long for this world even, because the energy that you put out, you get back. So if somebody is cursing you, if somebody is putting energy against that, oh, I want this person to suffer, I want this person to be alone, or I want this person to have trouble financially or whatever, what have you. Whatever you put out in the universe, it's cause and effect. You get it back. It comes right back at you. So if there's somebody who's taking all this time and energy to, figuratively, zap you, so to speak, they're doing it back to themselves. They're getting it back at themselves. And somebody who's putting out all that energy, all that negativity, all that evil towards you is also calling it upon themselves. So they're not going to be able to function for very long. They aren't. Okay, so even in that way, it's kind of illogical. If there's anyone who truly understands energy work, it's not something they're going to want to do. Then you get into the whole other realm of, they're doing things to protect themselves, where they're going to curse you or they're going to send this energy out at you, and they're going to go under the protection of some dark force or some dark lord to watch over them and protect them and bless them while they're sending all this evil out on you. This is another reason why there's so much effort to try to get you to go through certain healing practices or certain quote-unquote curse-breaking or curse-cleansing practices, because they call in these dark energies to do what they're referring to as a removal. But all they're really doing is placing you under this umbrella of dark energy. So if you are someone that feels powerful to you and you want to work with those dark energies or those lower vibrational beings, or even, I'm sorry to say, for lack of a better word, satanic energies or forces, if that resonates with you, that's your path, okay? But if you're just a common person who doesn't want to do that, right, like you don't want that and the thought of that is not appealing to you, then you really want to be careful how you're moving forward. You really want to be careful how you are proceeding as far as getting help if you're feeling like you're cursed or if you're feeling like you are stuck. It's really honestly, in my opinion, somewhat like you're giving away control. You're giving away a part of yourself to this person or to this energy who is basically going to be able to access you even more. So you're giving away your power. You're going to someone because you think you're stuck and you think you're powerless, and they're taking away your power even more so. That's dangerous. That's not good. You don't want that. That's not energy that you want to bring into your existence. That's not energy that you want to live by. So when it comes down to somebody actually being able to access you or to curse you, so to speak, you have the ability to fight against it. You have the ability to say no. You have the ability to put your foot down. Well, how do you do that? Oh, I don't know anything about magic. I don't know what candles to light. Well, it's not even about lighting candles. It's about setting the intention. It's about your spiritual connection. And it's about connecting with the feeling of love. It's about connecting with the energy of love, of universal love, of the higher power, of the cosmic power, that which you see as your God, your spiritual source, your protector. I am someone who, I like to work with the archangels and Archangel Michael and Jesus. So that's who I would gravitate towards in a situation with me. And I have in the past, being someone who is a psychic, being someone who is a healer. There is competition out there, guys, and there are people that don't like me. They don't like me because I go against a lot of what the psychic community teaches, and I'm kind of like a rogue reader, rogue healer here. It's a little unconventional, but what I teach is anything that I have learned from my experience. So there will be people who send negative energy, and I'm sensitive to energy, and I can feel it. I can sense it. Somebody is sending negative energy, which means when that happens, all that really means is you have to work twice as hard to keep yourself in the light, to keep yourself in your spiritual connection, whether that comes through being in nature, whether that comes through meditation or yoga or prayer or some kind of, metaphysical community that you belong to, or, being with your crystals, going to church, whatever it may be that connects you to love, whatever it may be that connects you to higher vibration, that's what you are being asked to do. That's what you are being guided to do, to reclaim your power and to set up barriers so that others cannot access you, to set up barriers so that others cannot, bring you down. I would say that the beginning stages of somebody trying to access your energy could be depression or sadness. So that would fall under the category of like psychic attack. People say they're being psychically attacked. So you may have a lot of negative thoughts about yourself. You may have a lot of negative thoughts about your life. And you begin believing I'm stuck or I'm cursed or, God or the universe doesn't love me. I've been abandoned. I've been forgotten. I'm a failure. I'm a loser. Nobody loves me. And all of these really heavy, really difficult thoughts start circling around in your head. And when you give into them, when you give into those thoughts and accepting those thoughts as truth and staying in that vibration of, mentally abusing yourself, you're giving that person access to your energy. You're giving that person access to just keep getting that negative energy attached to you. But if you say, I choose to believe this, I refuse to believe this. I refuse to believe this. I am a child of God. I am a child of the universe. Unconditional love is my birthright. Food, shelter, clothing is my birthright. And just see yourself as worthy, or keep telling yourself you're worthy, even if you're not believing it. They're not able to access your energy. They're not able to access your energy. They can't. And you're on a higher vibration. It's kind of like you jumped up onto like a hill or a mountain, or you've climbed some rocks or something, and they can't reach you. They can't get at you. You're on a higher level. So in that sense, that is something that you can do for yourself. And some people like to incorporate some form of, intention setting or a sense of ritual to hold this vibration or to raise their vibration. So what I mean by this, we hear ritual and like it kind of sounds like a scary word. It might even be something that you associate with really dark or really evil things, but it's not. A ritual is a practice, like a system that you set up, like is a part of a ceremony, or as like a rite, in entering a realm or an energy. So some people, for their ritual, they like to light candles, right? So some people associate white candles with like cleansing or protection. Some people will do a white candle and they'll incorporate a black candle because to them they see black as protection. Some people, including myself, I like to do white candles and purple candles because to me, purple or violet is the color of the violet flame, Archangel Michael's violet flame, and what that does is that comes in and it transmutes energy. What does that mean? What is transmuting energy? Transmuting energy is to recycle energy. So one of the first kind of things people teach you when it comes to any kind of psychic attack or curse work, they'll tell you, you have to do a return to sender spell. You have to do a spell where you're taking this person's energy and you're sending it back at them, right? Well, that's just an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, in my opinion, and it doesn't prevent the person from sending it back to you or coming at you harder. I love the idea of transmutation. Transmutation is a beautiful thing. When energy is transmuted, that dark energy, that negative energy is taken and it's cleansed and it's purified and it's turned into higher vibrational energy and light for the highest good of all, for the highest good of all. So, that could be taking somebody who's wishing evil or doing harm, taking that energy that they're putting out, intercepting it, having Archangel Michael intercept that energy, grab it, take it, transmute it or recycle it, cleanse it, and then use it for good. Use it for the will of a higher power. Use it for a higher vibrational use. It could go towards providing healing to those who need healing. It could go towards helping children, helping the environment, helping people be cured from sicknesses and illnesses. It could be all kinds of things where this energy goes, right? And that, to me, is much more powerful and much more efficient than sending this energy back to somebody. Another thing that I would say also is when people say, oh, you have to call in the dark energy to combat it. That has never made sense to me. It really hasn't. And I do have a lot of readers or people that will tell me that I absolutely positively do not know what I'm talking about, and I'm a joke, or I'm very weak, or I'm very naive, and I'm so inexperienced, and I don't understand how energy works. I do understand how contrast works. I do understand how energy works, and I do know that if I'm sick, if I have some kind of infection or illness, I have to counteract against it with the opposite of that thing. Okay, even with bacteria, there's good, healthy bacteria, and there's bad, bad malignant bacteria. They're both bacteria, but there's a higher level and there's a lower level. So if I'm suffering from some lower level thing, I'm not going to get better by giving it stronger, lower level crap, right? If I have an infection somewhere in my body and I'm putting more germs and more, negative bacteria into that, the infection is going to spread. It's going to become worse. So it doesn't make sense. I love what Martin Luther King said, and even though Martin Luther King Jr., even though he wasn't referring to things like spells or psychics or witchcraft, he was talking about, the global, or at least, in this country, the hatred, which is, that's hatred comes from darkness. He was talking about that hatred that is here in the world, and, when he was trying to help people come up together to fight it, to defeat it, he was very clear about being peaceful. He was very clear about not being violent. And he said something very powerful. He said, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hatred cannot drive out hatred. Only love can do that. And we see what a powerful, testimony he left for the world. Anybody who looks back on his legacy, anyone who looks back on the way that he did things, was he a perfect man? No. Perfection doesn't exist. Were there things in his life that he probably wishes he hadn't done? Absolutely. But we all have those things. But if we look at how he governed himself and how he taught others and how he led others, he is such a powerful example. He is such a powerful example of looking evil in the face and defeating it and conquering it. Not through militias, not through hatred, not through violence, not through attacking, not through terrorizing or instilling fear in others, but simply by standing up for themselves, by choosing what they would accept to be true and lawful, and what is not true and what is not lawful, and holding their ground, but doing so peacefully, doing so without attack, doing so without spreading fear, doing so without spreading, negativity towards anybody else. And that was a peaceful movement. And yes, there were, unfortunately, violence and things that erupted in the process, but none of it was because of, none of it was because of him. None of it was because of his disciples or his followers. It was because there were negative people or evil people who allowed their fear to attack. Overall, widely so, there was prevailing, and many things changed. And I'm not going to sit here and make this show an episode about race or about, I know that this could go on to a completely different topic, and I know there's still much that needs to be done. I'm not going to sit here and say that things are perfect, and I know there's still much work to do, especially in the United States, when it comes to race and race relations and, prejudices and things, unfortunately, that are still happening. But overall, I don't think we can dispute that Martin Luther King Jr. did some amazing things and did bring things into a better state of being. Obviously, it's not perfect, but we cannot dispute that he did amazing things through love. He did amazing things through integrity. He did amazing things in a very honorable way. So I bring this up as an example simply to say and simply to explain that being a loving person, being a peaceful person, not being someone who's returning evil for evil, that does not make you weak. That does not make you defenseless. That does not make you powerless. In fact, you can accomplish many very wonderful things, and that's just one example, and that's why I bring up that example to keep in mind and to remember as we are trying to fight our own evils, our own dark forces in our life, whatever those may be. A couple of other examples that I kind of want to go into, and I'm not in any way trying to make this like a preachy thing. I'm not. This is not like the Amethyst Angel Light Gospel Hour or anything like that. And I don't claim to be, an expert on the topic by any means. But I talked a little bit about transmutation, and that's when we take negative energy and or we don't take it, but we offer it up to, Archangel Michael or to God to take that energy and to purify it, to cleanse it, to bring it into that higher vibrational. So there's a really great example of this in the Bible, in the book of Deuteronomy. And again, I'm not trying to be all, Bible hour or gospel hour, but there was a man who they tried to curse, and I believe his name, I want to say Boaz, but I could have the name wrong. But anyway, there was a prophet of God or a servant of God, and people saw him coming into this new town or this new city, and they saw him as an outsider, and they knew that he didn't practice their practices, and they knew that he didn't belong to their rituals, and they didn't like him. And so they were doing curses against him. They were putting all kinds of curses against him, and they were trying to make bad things happen to him. They were trying to take him down through magic, through spells, through curse work. But, the scripture there, and I believe it's Deuteronomy 23:4 and 5, but I could be wrong, so please forgive me. But it says there, the Lord your God would not listen to Balaam. Balaam is the false god, but turned the curse into a blessing for you, because the Lord your God loves you. The Lord your God would not listen to Balaam, but turned the curse into a blessing for you, because the Lord your God loves you. Now, if you think about that, that is transmutation right there. That's not something I'm making up. That's something that has been around for centuries. And here's an example of that. And unfortunately, I wish I could come at you with, things from Buddhism or from the Quran or from other religious teachings or other holy writings, but I'm not familiar. I don't know them. I was raised on the Bible. I can tell you the Bible. I can bring scriptures from the Bible, but I don't know anything from other spiritual teachings or spiritual books. But I am 100% certain that there is something in the Buddhist beliefs and teachings or something in the Quran or any other religious writing that would explain this concept. Any evil that is being done against you, the higher power, the higher, most true source, energy, God, whatever you choose to call this being that exists, this higher power can take it, this higher love can take it and cleanse it and use it for your benefit. Use it for your healing. Use it for your well-being. So even if someone is sending energy at you, don't freak out. Don't panic. And even if you feel within yourself that you've been overcome with this negativity, that it's bringing you down, you're tired, you don't know how to fight it, you don't know how to fight against it. A lot of the times what it is you're coming into a time where you need a tremendous amount of self-care and self-love. And what that means is it's time to take care of yourself and be gentle with yourself. It doesn't mean self-care simply in terms of things like, nutrition, like not eating junk food, exercising, sleeping enough, drinking enough water. Yes, those are all aspects of it. But you could be in that energy where you are running around and you are doing all these things to take care of yourself, but you're still tired because you're putting so much emphasis on what needs to be done and are you doing enough and are you doing it right, to where you're not really getting that nurturing energy that you need. You're not really getting that love that you need. You're not really getting the help that you need. So what you end up having happen is that you're doing all of these things to, be quote-unquote healthy, but you're not really practicing self-care. So what self-care really means is making time for yourself, setting boundaries, being kind to yourself, being loving to yourself, and treating yourself the way that you would treat a child or your best friend or somebody that you care about very deeply. If your best friend or somebody that you cared about very much came to you and said, I feel like a loser and I'm trying so hard and, my life sucks and I can't get out of it and everybody hates me, you're not going to sit there and say, you know what, you're absolutely right. You're totally messing up and you're stupid and you're wrong and nobody likes you and I'm so embarrassed of you. And you wouldn't just start ripping into that person. Heck, even if it wasn't your best friend, even if it was somebody you didn't know all that well, if they came to you and started unloading their problems or how they feel, even somebody who you don't even know that well, you'd probably, I'm going to say 9 out of 10 people are going to be more inclined to be like, you know what, don't be so hard on yourself. Give yourself some credit. Or, oh, no, that's not true. You wouldn't even talk that way to somebody that you don't even know that well. You wouldn't talk that way to your best friend. Why are you talking to yourself that way? Why are you accepting those things to be true? Why are you any less than anybody else? So the curse is coming not from the outside. I mean, people may do things from the outside to trigger you or to bring you down or to depress you. But ultimately, the curse is something from within. The curse is something from within. It is happening from inside of you. It is something that is growing from inside of you. And you are the most capable, most powerful person to get at it, to cut it from where it's growing, to rip it out by the roots and get rid of it. You are more capable of doing that than some seedy, shady person who's asking for $2,800. I don't know what $2,800 is, like the magic number, but $2,800 seems to be one of the prices I hear a lot. I hear $150 and I hear $2,800. I don't know what it is about that price range, but those seem to be the going rates for, if somebody is lighting candles and doing curse work or curse removal for you. Please explain to me how somebody on the outside is going to do work for you to remove something that is from within inside yourself. You have access to it more so than they do. Unless you are giving up your power and you're surrendering to that person and you're saying, I am giving my soul into your hands. I am giving my energy into your hands. I am giving my life force into your hands. Why would you do that? How well do you know this person to trust them on that level? Would you hand over your child to this person? So why do you hand over yourself? Think about that. Who are you allowing to access you and why? So when people feel cursed, they feel powerless. They feel powerless, and that's why they believe they are cursed, because they feel that they are stuck and they are looking to be empowered. But how do you become empowered? By continuing to give your power to others. It's counterproductive. It's not going to help you. You're simply going to be more defeated, more depressed, in a worse financial situation than you were before you found this person. And unfortunately, a lot of people get stuck in a cycle and they go to the next person and they, kill themselves to come up with a ton of money, and they fork over money to somebody else for that person to help them. And guess what? It never really works. And if it works for a little while because you told yourself it was going to work. And then it stops working. So you go looking for another expert. You go looking for another curse remover. And you fall into this cycle. And you never get your power back because you're always looking for people outside of you to fix it. You're always looking for people outside of you to solve it. Now, I do energy healing. I do chakra clearing, right? But these are all things that are happening with the person. The person is in on this process. There is no healer so powerful that they're healing from themselves. Any healing anybody does is coming from source, is coming from universe, from God, from higher power, from divine, whatever you want to call that one being that governs all. That's where the healing energy comes from. So it's not from the healer. The healer is not the powerful one. And you have as much ability as the healer to access the healing. You have as much ability as the healer to access the source that is bringing in the healing. The job of the healer is to come in and to help you if you've been blocked, if you've disconnected from the source, to help you to connect to source. It's not about the healer helping you to connect to the healer. It's not about the healer fixing you. The healer's job is to establish the connection between you and Source, between you and Spirit, between you and God, between you and the angels, between you and the universe, whatever you want to call it. That is what the healer's job is. The healer doesn't have any magical powers, the true healer, other than the fact that they are connected, continue to remain connected, and they assist you in connecting. So this brings me to the next thing about being cursed or being in connection or being in a higher vibration, which is going to be the subject of, well, how can you tell? How can you tell that somebody is connected to Source? How can you tell that somebody is a spiritual being? How can you tell that somebody, has power in that way or has ability? How can you tell? How do you know? Is it because they're absolutely drop-dead gorgeous or handsome? You look at them and they have it going on. They are just, everybody is falling all over themselves to get at this person. They're beautiful. They're gorgeous. Is it because they have a $1 million business? Is it because people are throwing money at them? And they're nice. They're doing things. They're taking the money and they're giving it to charity, or they're providing services to people in the community. So they're being a good person. They're sharing their wealth. But is wealth an indicator of somebody who's spiritually connected? Is that person's personal life an indicator of how well this person is connected? Do they have a perfect life where everyone in their life is really great to them and they don't have any issues or any problems with loved ones or friends or family? Are they in the dream ideal relationship? This next one's my favorite. Have they found their twin flame and settled down with their twin flame? That one's my favorite. Is that what indicates a true spiritual healer, or someone who is spiritually connected, or someone who is not cursed? What does not being cursed look like to you? If you believe that you are cursed, what is the opposite of that? What is not being cursed? When it comes down to it, it's probably going to be happiness. And you may label off all kinds of things that you believe are the vision of happiness or the face of happiness, but they're not. You may say, well, if I'm not cursed, money is really good. My career is great. If I'm not cursed, I have my true love, and we're so happy together. And I finally have the dream life. I'm not cursed. I know many people who have settled down and gotten married and had families with really good people. I mean, you put it down on paper, and this is like a really great partner. But are they happy? They're miserable. Are they miserable because they're with a crappy person? No. I'll tell you why they're miserable. They're miserable because they had an expectation of what that relationship was going to bring them. They had an expectation of what a respectful, reputable, quality person, respectful person, and, marriage and family life and having kids and owning property. They had an ideal of what that was going to bring into their life. And once they received it, it didn't bring them that sense of wholeness. It didn't really bring them that sense of accomplishment. If anything, it brought a higher level of responsibility into their life and more fear over messing up and more worry about protecting all which they've worked so hard for. I'm not saying that these are people that regret it. They'll tell you they don't regret it. They'll tell you that their children are the best thing that have ever happened to them and they're grateful for that and they love their kids. But are they necessarily happier than they were before all of this? And the answer is no. There's a little bit of disappointment. I'm happy for what I have. I love what I have, but I'm not necessarily happier, or I don't feel fulfilled. This didn't bring me fulfillment. Or your true love. Let me tell you why we need to be careful when we think that we're cursed because we don't have our quote-unquote true love, or we don't have our life partner. This is a very dangerous one. And I'll tell you why it's a very dangerous one. It's a very dangerous one because you have a situation where you're feeling very lonely, you're feeling very isolated, you're feeling very victimized by the world, right? And you might have every right to feel that way. You may have had really bad things happen in your life, and you may feel very unloved. And you, congratulate yourself. You finally realize that you deserve to be loved. So that is awesome. That is awesome that you've come to this level to realize, I deserve to be loved. I want that love. Where is that love? So that in itself, even be in that mindset, is a victory. Applaud yourself for that. But here's where it gets tricky, and here's where it becomes a little complicated. Anytime we look for unconditional love outside of ourselves, we tend to attract people who sense that, who pick up on that, and who use it against us. It's a vibrational thing. It really is. It's kind of like, and I think we talked about this a little bit, or I think I've used this analogy before, and I'm sorry if you've heard it before, and I'm sorry if you don't like hearing it again, but it's coming up, so I'm going to say it. It's like that little baby seal that's been wounded and is bleeding in the ocean. And who smells the blood from far away? Not other seals. Other seals don't smell the blood from far away and come rushing to help the baby seal. Who smells the blood from far away? The sharks do. And they come rushing in. They come rushing in because they need it. It's so delicious. It sustains them. It's how they're going to live. It's how they're going to survive. Are they attacking the baby seal because they're evil? No. If the shark doesn't eat, it's going to die, and that's what the shark eats. The shark didn't ask to be created in that way. So if it doesn't do this, it's going to die. It's looking out for itself. And it smells something so delicious and so wonderful that it needs, and it comes rushing in to scoop it up. And that's what happens with a lot of light workers. That's what happens with a lot of people who are empaths, a lot of people who are healers who don't realize that they are healers. They don't know that they are healers. They only know that they've been wounded. They only know that they have a lot of love in their heart to give. They need somebody to give it to, and they want so desperately to be loved back, so they're constantly sending love out there. I'm going to give you all my love, and you're going to love me back, and everything is going to be fine. But what happens is we attract those figurative sharks. They smell that. They pick that up, and they need you. They need you to survive. They need to feed off your energy to survive. And so you go through situation after situation, either feeling ignored or rejected, because with some people, rejecting others makes them feel powerful, and that's what gives them energy, and that's what validates them. Or you go through people who you feel like you put so much into, and they don't put anything back, or they disappear on you. They ghost you, and they appear back every so often when it's time for the next hit, when it's time for the next fix that they're going to get from you. And they're going to get their little high, and then they're going to wander off again. So it's not because you're cursed that you're having this experience. It's because of the wound. And I talked a little bit in the beginning of the show about the full moon and being able to use that energy to do the release work and the things that maybe are coming up to the surface and, letting it go Another reason why people will feel very blocked or very cursed is because they're unable to manifest. And they say, I'm thinking positive. I'm telling myself things are going to get better. I'm going after opportunities. I'm getting out there. I'm trying to meet people, or I'm going to therapy, or I'm, going and applying for jobs or whatever. Like, I'm doing whatever I can in my power to improve my situation, but I'm being met with rejection after rejection after rejection. I cannot catch a break to save my life. This happens a lot with many people. This frustration happens a lot with many people. And it's not because you are blocked. It's not because you are cursed. It's not because there's anything wrong with you. What it comes down to, what the reason is because we cannot manifest if we have a full inventory. What do I mean by that? If I have a lot of crappy stuff that I don't know what to do with, people maybe gave it to me and I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to embarrass them, or I didn't want to upset them, or I felt kind of obligated to take it, or I didn't know how to get around it, and it just kind of happened, and I couldn't confront people about it, or I couldn't do anything about it, and I just got handed all this stuff that I don't like, I don't know what to do with, I don't like looking at it, I don't like seeing it because it's ugly, it's depressing, it puts me in a bad mood. So I just take it and I put it away in my closet because I want to be polite. I don't want to throw it away. I don't want to let somebody else know that they insulted me or they gave me something I don't like, and I'm kind of like embarrassed to get rid of it. So I'm going to put it in my closet. And years go by, and that closet fills up with all of those little knickknacks, all of those little things that you don't like. You don't want to see them. They're not you. You may even feel hurt or offended that, this person doesn't even know me, and they're putting something on me, and I don't know what to do with it, so I'm going to put it in the closet. And you fill up your closet with all this stuff. Or other things. People ask you, hey, I'm going through something. I'm having a hard time. Can you take my stuff and hold it for me until things get better? Can you hold all of my crap and all of my stuff until things get better? And, you can hold it for me, right? Especially if you're a light worker, if you're a healer, even if you don't realize that you are, you probably always have people coming up to you with their problems, with their stuff, and you put your stuff aside to deal with their stuff. So your closet's just filling up with all this garbage, all this crap. And then a day comes when you decide, hey, I'm a different person, and I want to do something for myself. I want to maybe give myself a makeover. I want to get some new clothes. I want to express myself. I want to do something nice for myself. And you want to go shopping and get, like, a new wardrobe. Well, you got to get rid of all the crap that's in the closet first. Where is it going to go? Where are you going to put it? You don't have room for it. So a lot of the time when people say, I'm doing everything I can and nothing is getting better, it's because you have a closet full of crap that you maybe aren't even aware of, that you aren't even looking. And does that mean you have a closet full of things that you have to change about yourself? No. It doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It doesn't mean there's this whole repair list, fix-it list of everything that makes you an unworthy person and you got to fix it so you can be worthy of it. No, it's not that there's anything wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just you have other people's garbage in there. You have experiences in there. You have things in there that you haven't fully been able to let go of. So when you let go of it, when you release it, the time that you're going to be able to begin having new things come in. that is a way in which a lot of people are blocked. And they start really genuinely believing, I must be cursed because I'm doing everything I can and nothing is working. It's because you need to make room. You need to make room. That is one reason why you are not manifesting. Another reason number 2, why maybe you might not be manifesting. Reason number 2 why you may not be manifesting. You may have it in your mind that here's what you need to do. Here are the factors which are going to make you successful. Here are, the goals to hit, the factors to hit that are going to make you a happy person. And you might tell yourself, oh, well, I'm going to make a vision board and I'm going to ask for a big house, right? I'm going to ask for a big house and I'm going to put that on there. And I'm going to have this really attractive spouse. I'm going to put that on there. And I'm going to put, that I'm going to go to this country on a vacation. I'm going to put that on there. And so you put all these things up there that you're trying to manifest, and you put it on the wall and you look at it. And either you look at it and you're sad because it feels so far away from you. So then what you begin to manifest is you tell the universe, here are all the things that I'm longing for. Here are all the things that I'm really sad about not having. So I'm going to create a contract. I'm going to create an agreement that these are all of the things that, universe, you're going to keep it away from me. You're going to keep it right out of my reach because these are all the things I will long for. These are all the things I will feel sadness when I think about because I can't quite grasp them. So instead of creating a vision board, you've created a longing board. And you've set the program to keep it out of your reach. So if you're trying to manifest, you have to manifest with the faith and the joy as if it's already happened. You have to see yourself there. You have to feel happiness when you're playing that movie in your mind, when you're playing that daydream in your mind. If you're feeling longing and sadness, you're setting the program of keep this away from me because these are all the things that will make me sad. And you're fueling that energy. You're fueling that cycle. Another kind of, part B of reason number 2 why the manifesting may not be working is you may be trying to manifest things simply because you think you're supposed to have them. I want to be successful. I want to be happy. And advertising has told me, all of the movies, all of the TV shows, all of the magazines, that to be successful, you have to look a certain way. You have to have a partner that looks a certain way. You have to, live in a certain income bracket or financial bracket, and you have to have certain nice things. And that's what makes you successful, and that's what makes you happy. So I'm going to ask for that, and I'm going to try to create that. I'm going to vision for that. But you have no emotional passion for it. It's not the desire of your heart. You're not trying to manifest the desire of your heart. You're trying to manifest what you think you're supposed to want. You're trying to manifest what you think you're supposed to have. And if it's not coming from the heart, you're never going to be able to put enough joy and passion and emotion into calling that in because it's not really what you want. So maybe you need to get clear about what you want. Maybe that's why you're not manifesting. You don't know what you want. And that's very common. That's very common because we grow up conditioned. We're told what's cool. We're told what's not cool. We're told what to like and what not to like. So then we feel like, okay, well, anything that I like is stupid. Anything that I like isn't cool, or it's not what I'm supposed to want. So we stop wanting. We turn ourselves off. Turn off that part of ourselves that naturally desires or wants because we think that what we desire or what we want is stupid. So that may be why you're not manifesting, because you're manifesting what you think you're supposed to manifest, but you don't really want it deep down inside. Or you're wanting to manifest a relationship, right? But you're putting a false face on that relationship again. Maybe what you really want is a very loyal person. Or maybe what you want is, somebody that you're going to have a lot of fun with. But you're putting an image to it that you think you're supposed to put towards it, and it's becoming more about a certain, physical characteristic than a characteristic of the soul or of the heart or of the spirit. So that's a two-part reason why you might not be manifesting. The third part of why you might not be manifesting is this is a really big one, and this is one that some people aren't going to like. I think the reason why so many people are so attracted and so drawn to the whole metaphysical teaching is because there's this idea of freedom. There's this idea of creating your own future and having what you want. And to an extent, there is truth in that. We do create our future. Our thoughts today, our actions today create our tomorrow. So there's definitely truth in that. It's not a lie. You are creating your own future this second right now. In 5 seconds from now, 10 seconds from now, 1 minute from now, 5 minutes from now, 10 minutes from now, you will constantly be creating your future. But there is something that the metaphysical teaching fails to incorporate. And I don't care if people don't agree with me. I don't care if there's people that say that we're wrong or that I'm wrong. There's this whole concept in the metaphysical community that we are gods. That we are gods, that we are meant to ascend to some godship, and that we are creating some universe of our own. Figuratively and loosely, I would say there's parts of that could resonate with me in the sense that you are creating your world, you are creating what you're calling in, but I will never sit here and say that I am a god. That is not my belief. I am not a god. I am a child of God. I am connected to God. I am connected to spirit. I am connected to the angels, and I am creating. I am in creation with God's will, creating, but I'm not God. That is not my belief. Therefore, I'm not going to sit here and have the belief that I can create 100% of the time exactly what I will. Exactly what I will. Because my will and my desire may not be in harmony with the greater will of the good for all. I might will and I might desire unknowingly something that if I were to receive it is going to harm someone else or is going to disrupt some universal balance, or I may think I want something that's going to directly conflict with what the higher divine being's plan for me is. Maybe I can't have that person, place, or thing because it's going to prevent me from being of service in some way. And some people hate to hear that because they think, well, I don't want to be in service all the time. What about me? The divine, the universe is just. Everything is in balance. So whatever you might feel you are giving up, whatever you feel you might be sacrificing, know that something even better will replace it. We don't do service to be blessed. That is not the reason why we do service. But there's always a balance. There's always a balance. And the reward may not be immediate, but something positive will come of the service. It's just the natural law of cause and effect. It's just the way that it is. And you might say, well, okay, but I'm not someone who's going into a life of service. I'm not a spiritual teacher. I'm not a guru. I'm not a leader. I'm just regular old, Joe or Jane who lives a very normal, uneventful life. I'm not trying to go all out there and be a light worker. I just want to be happy. Why can't I have my happiness? Your answer there is that you may be wanting something that is not at all what you think. Something or someone has deceived you. Someone or something has put on a deceptive mask, and you are seeing it as the cure and the solution to everything that is wrong. But if you were to receive it, it would harm you even more than you realize. It is the equivalent of being, say, a 2-year-old child walking down the street with your parent, and maybe your parent has a surprise for you, and you don't kind of really understand the fact that there's this really cool toy shop or there's this really cool ice cream place, and you've been pretty good, and they want to take you and they want to surprise you, but you're like 2 or 1.5, and you might not grasp all of that. That's what's happening. And on your way there, you look over and you see a red lollipop, and it's laying on the sidewalk, and it's been laying out there since God knows when. Just there on the sidewalk where people walk by and dogs and cats poop and pee, and there's roaches and all kinds of things that crawl past there, and you just see that lollipop there on that sidewalk, and you want it. You reach for it. You know it's something delicious. It's your favorite color. It's bright and shiny. It's glistening in the sun. There's not one ant on it. There's not one bug on it. It's perfectly clean. It's just laying there on the sidewalk, and you have to have it. Is your parent going to allow you to walk over and grab that lollipop and shove it in your mouth? There's no bugs on it. It's just been laying there. It looks pretty clean. You know, as far as you can tell as a kid, it doesn't have dirt on it, but your parent knows it's covered in germs. Your parent knows it's essentially a petri dish on a stick. And they're not going to let you pick it up and shove it in your mouth because they love you. They don't want you to get sick. They have something better in mind. You're on your way right now to go to that awesome toy store or that, awesome little ice cream shop or whatever. Your parent is trying to take you to something good. Your parent is trying to lead you to some nice reward because your parent sees that you're accomplishing your milestones and you're a good, you're doing a good job, right? Like you're trying hard, you're growing, you're making an effort, and they want to give you some kind of reward. But you get so hung up on that lollipop, and you cannot believe the audacity of how mean they are being to you. What a jerk. Why won't they let you have this? It's right there. It's within your reach. It's everything you wanted, crying and throwing a fit, and you want it so much. But no matter how much you cry and scream and throw a fit, you're not going to get that lollipop. It's not going to happen because it's very, very dangerous for you to have it. So that's where the metaphysical community fails to explain certain parts of manifestation because the metaphysical community sometimes does not acknowledge that there is a being above us that sets certain limitations and sets certain orders and balances and loves us, is intelligent, and loves us enough to intervene and to keep us safe when we are in danger, but we don't realize it. You may be wanting something that looks so spectacular and so amazing and so delicious and so wonderful, but getting it is going to make you very sick or maybe even kill you or cause some damage that you will later not be able to recover from. And your divine parent, your heavenly parent, your cosmic universal parent loves you enough So there is a need for a certain degree of humility to understand and know that there are things beyond your understanding, that not everything is as you deem it to be with your physical eye, that you do not have all of the pieces to the puzzle, that you do not know every detail that is happening behind the scenes, that there is more to this story, and that if it truly were what you believed it to be, you would have it. Why shouldn't you have it? Then it's not what you believed it to be. If you come to doors and doors are locked, trust that there's a good reason for it. You might think you know what's on the other side of that door, but you don't. And you might think that you want it, but it's not going to be what you were anticipating. So you may be reserved for something greater. And it's important that you try to remind yourself of that. It's important that you try to hold that thought, that realization, and understand it, and believe it, and know it to be true. There's really no reason why anything is going to be 100% bad forever. Nothing will be 100% stuck forever. So if you want to come out of the curse, sometimes, or the belief of being cursed, or the feeling of being cursed, and you see that the steps that you are taking aren't necessarily delivering you, right? It's time to maybe look outside of the box. You can pray, you can meditate, you can ask your guardian angels to come in and say, what is in my power to do now? Please help me to see. I feel so powerless. Everything that I'm doing is not working. Help me to see what is in my power. Help me to see what is in my reach, and help me to reach for those things. And then bring in the happiness on the smaller level. And then little by little, that level of happiness will grow. You may be being redirected. The thing that you are going for may be just that nasty germ-infested lollipop that looks really great and wonderful from the outside. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that that helps. I'm definitely available for questions. If any of you reach out for questions, I'm sorry that I have not been able to log in a way where I can access the phone lines, but nobody has commented on the social media. Oh, here's one. Here's a comment. Okay, so Anna's commenting. I just saw this now, so I'm tuning in late. But what do you think of generational curses? Yes, I was going to talk about that, and I forgot. Anne, thank you. You reminded me. I've been told that my chart shows that I'm carrying the family's karma and have to release them from it. I do feel that something could be at work in this regard. Oh, God, Anne, thank you. I was going to kick myself so hard later. I did want to talk about generational curses. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Anne, thank you, God, thank you, Spirit. So, generational quote-unquote curses do exist, but they're not what we think of as curses. I'm going to explain what that is. The same way that you inherit from your family the color of your eyes, the texture of your hair, color of your hair, the shape of your body, your height, your nose, your chin, your mouth. You inherit so many characteristics from your physical DNA. Well, our body is made up of atoms. Our body is made up of cells, and those cells and those atoms are constantly recording everything in the environment. So if you're coming from a family background where there's been trauma, like maybe you are the descendant of someone whose family lived through like really dangerous times and war and being attacked and rape and being beaten, genocide, slavery, all kinds of things that have happened, in our history. Or maybe even not that dramatic. Maybe you're just coming from a family where there was some victimization, mistreatment, inappropriateness that happened in the bloodline. That is in the cells. That is in the body. That is in the atoms. And that gets passed down. It's a part of the person's physical makeup, and that energy stays in the body, and that energy goes into creating the offspring and goes into that offspring, and that offspring will have it and be born and pass it on into their offspring, and it just cycles. It goes for generations. So you may have certain difficulties around certain subjects or certain things or certain people or intimacy, or, feeling in fear, not feeling able to ground yourself, like feeling like nowhere feels like home. Those could all have been things that you inherited as a quote-unquote generational curse. And it blocks you, it prevents you. And the generational quote-unquote curse is more difficult because you don't have memory of it. You don't know why you're feeling that way. You don't know why you're feeling reservation or unworthiness or inability or fear or anxiety. You don't know why it's there. It's simply in you. So the way around the generational curse is to do a lot of very, very close connection with your higher power. It is my belief that you cannot heal a generational curse, and nobody can come in and help you heal a generational curse without you connecting to whatever you deem to be your higher power. And there's a lot of talking that you have to do with yourself and reminding yourself that you are safe and reminding yourself that you are loved. Doing energy work and releasing layer after layer after layer. The trouble and the difficulty about generational curses is they're going to be removed in layers. It would be really great to say, oh, there's someone who specializes in helping people to connect, and they're going to blast out all of the generational curses, all of the generational inheritances. And it doesn't happen quickly. It happens over time. It happens through processing. Some people who are able to access their family history, I have known some people what's been very powerful for them is they've taken bits of their family history, or they have known that they have ancestors who have suffered genocide or slavery, or molestation or something tragic, and they have done some kind of personal ceremony or moving along of the ancestors. And I know a lot of people have said that's been very helpful for them. So I've known people who've done their own little energy healing thing where they've brought up love in their heart and they've said prayers and they've prayed for the ancestors, or they've brought in healing, or they've written letters and read them out loud and released them, whether burning them outside in a safe, contained space where it's not going to catch fire, or which has to use a lot of caution, or tearing it up and throwing it away, or putting it in a lake and letting it float away. Whatever it is powerful for you for releasing it. But I know a lot of people have done that kind of ancestral work. And I want to make it clear that it's not like a form of worship. You're not worshiping the ancestors in doing this, but you're going back and you're acknowledging, spiritual sense, what happened, that they were victimized, that they didn't deserve it, that it shouldn't have happened, that you are aware of it, the world is aware of it, and you're just sending peace and love and healing. So some people have found a lot of help in that way and being able to clear the generational stuff. But a lot of it is just going to be within yourself, going back and clearing, taking the sea salt baths, doing energy healing, doing prayer, doing meditation to release that. And then to do a lot of personal affirmation work to reprogram your thinking, to reprogram your deeply rooted, deeply inherited beliefs, limiting beliefs. Because all ancestral, quote-unquote, curses are limitations. And when we realize and see them as limitations, we can begin working to undo them. So I hope that works. I hope that explains the topic. I hope it maybe brings some of you some advice or some help or some guidance. And I don't know if you're still here. I don't know if you could hear my little explanation. If you're still around, let me know. But I definitely do hope that works, and I hope that helps. Oh, here's Terry. Terry. Okay, so you guys are just coming in now. Terry. So Terry says, yes, I believe I have kind of the same thing going on, more about genetics, because I just found out in April about my biological family. But I have been told there is bad karma that goes back for decades, and I had no idea of any of this until recently. Things just make more sense to me now. So, yeah, there's definitely a sense of these things that happen that we kind of inherit. Some of it could be like just the way that we view the world or how we feel about the world. Sometimes bad karma is that we don't realize, but we might be putting out negativity towards others, and we don't realize that we're doing it. Or, we might try to be very loving in some ways, but in other ways maybe like there's just some pain that we're continuing to generate or, planting along the way without realizing it. So a lot of that is going to come in through self-awareness and self-realization. One of the things I personally like to do in my connection is to ask to be forgiven for what I have done wrong, to realize what I've done wrong, like to be able to see it so I don't do it again, to be forgiven for it in all directions of time, and to bring light where there's been pain or to bring light where there's been darkness. So that is something also that you can do if you're dealing with any kind of generational curse or generational karma. That is a very powerful way. So again, I hope that helps, guys. And I want to see if there's any other comments. Okay, so I guess, that's about it. It takes a little bit for the page to reload. But you guys will have to let me know. Reach out to me if you have questions about the subject, or if you've been able to try any of the things and if they've been able to help you. Also, keep me posted and let me know what other topics you'd like to hear about. So Terry says, yes, I am working on that forgiveness for my family's bad karma. Yeah, it's we have to, some of it could also be shame. It might be the other way. I talked about like the victimization, like we might come from families that have been very victimized, but we may come from families who've done some pretty mean things, right? We may come from families who were the aggressors and not the victims. And so if we have shame, that perpetuates the negative hold. So there needs to be like a forgiveness, like forgive them for they know not what they do, and that your legacy, your testimony will be that you do the opposite of that, right? Like you will change that cycle, you will break that cycle, you will do good, you will not victimize others. So there's a whole other spectrum there. So thank you, Terry, because that's something that I didn't address, but I'm glad that point can come up now too. But guys, let me know any other topics you would like to discuss in the show. I'm going to pull a quick card here for our meditation moving forward in the week, or not meditation, our assignment. Last week was to have fun. The messages for us this week until next week. And it's going to be oh, wow. We got the Devil card. And it's actually everything we've been talking about. So your homework for the week is to maybe think about some of the things that was said on today's show and to break through insecurities, break through limiting beliefs, any ways in which you are criticizing or labeling yourself, any person that is making you feel negative about yourself, any situation that is making you feel bad about yourself, begin distancing yourself from it. Begin cutting cords from it. We got to do a show on cord cutting. That's what we need to do. But your homework assignment for this week is to remove yourself from the negative energy and to remind yourself that you are a child of God, child of the universe, that you are worthy of unconditional love. Unconditional love and food and shelter and clothing and provision are your birthright. So break through those false beliefs. That's going to be the homework for the week ahead. I do want to announce winners of the giveaways. I was giving away a tarot deck last week. I'm going to go and pick the winner and post it online in maybe the next half hour. But the winner, Feminine Frequency Radio Network, we did a nice little giveaway. I'm giving away a smudging bundle with an energy healing bath that I've made with other products. If you did not win, they are available for purchase, so do reach out to me. But the winner that Feminine Frequency Radio has chosen for that prize is a Wild Cosmic Child. So Wild Cosmic Child, you are the winner. I'm not sure how that works. I guess I will reach out to you. I will find you online, and I will reach out to you, and we will make arrangements for you to win the prize. For the tarot deck that I personally was giving away, check out Amethyst Angel Light in the next half hour or so, and I will have the winner posted there. Guys, go to YouTube, Amethyst Angel Light YouTube channel. Check out your reading for the week ahead. I'm also going to start doing love readings for each zodiac sign, like a love reading for the month. And then every week I will do a reading for the week ahead. So please do check that out if you haven't already. And, follow me in between now and then on Instagram and Facebook at Amethyst Angel Light. Thank you so much for listening. Love and light. Thank you for sharing your journey with me. Till next week, my friends.
Hello and welcome. You are now entering the corridors of Twilight Epiphanies Talk Radio with your host, Cindy Magnuson, premiering Thursday evenings, 7 to 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on Feminine Frequency Radio Network. You are invited on a talk radio journey to the center of self. Join us as Cindy guides you, the listeners, in sensory and perception upgrades where revelations and golden epiphanies pierce the veils of illusion. Don't miss this opportunity for your next dose of Twilight Epiphanies.
Are you a mother, father, teacher, healer, trendsetter, or innovator concerned with our future generation? Come join the family at Small Voices, Big World, where we talk to leading experts in child development, care, compassion, friendship, and community. Join us live Saturdays at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Feminine Frequency Radio Network. We hope you join us as we spark new ideas that will shape our future and the small voices that will create this big world. Hello, hello. Welcome to Organic Frequency Radio. This is Stephanie. Oksana, are you there, lovely?
Yes. Hello, Stephanie. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm here in New York City.
Wonderful. Well, that's good. It's so nice you're doing well, and it's not cold there yet.
In fact, it's hot. In fact, we are experiencing heat here. And well, you know how it is. In the city with concrete, it actually feels hotter than it would if it was in the nature, a regular streets. So it does feel a little bit hotter because of the concrete and the city structure, but it is a little bit hotter than typical. And of course, it's humid as well. It's not as humid as Washington, D.C., but it's still humid. And I'm actually kind of looking forward to cooler weather here, to be honest.
Yes.
If I was by the beach, I'd rather stay naked throughout the whole year. But since they might think I'm triple crazy if I go naked here, I'd rather have a little bit of a cooler weather here.
Agreed. So much easier to dress in cooler weather.
Yeah, not complaining, just stating my preferences.
Beautiful. So, well, we don't have a special guest on this evening. We thought that we would discuss a topic on our own, something kind of that we've been working with and practicing and learning as we go, kind of. And that topic is functional spirituality.
Yeah. I actually am quite blown away by how people are still differentiating or dividing the unseen from basic practical things. And I definitely understand. I totally get it. It's almost like day and night if you haven't really seen how things appear in front of you, right? How they change, how they shift, and it is like it's trippy sometimes to see how things align and evolve and manifest. And we'll go more into that a little bit later today, what manifestation is from my point of view and yours, Stephanie. But so I've observed how even though people still dive into, spirituality and concepts, still dive into plant medicine, still dive into even recreational supplements and tools, and yet still function like that is different world altogether.
Right.
And that's something that I totally understand, but I think it's just because it's steps that you have to take to get to where spirituality does become practical, everyday thing, because spirituality is everything, because we are it. We are spirits. We are souls. We are beings that are beyond just the avatar bodies. And the whole, I guess, energy functions where you don't see it, but it will become solid after you already observed certain things. Of course, you've put the intention and focus. Of course, you've aligned with yourself and realized whether this is yours or not, all those things. But they don't start from a piece of paper here on the table and you sign it. It starts from, how did we create this piece of paper? How did we create this words, contract? How did we create, my steps? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's all starts behind the scene. It all starts from what is in our government right now, what is in our relationships right now, what are we, it starts way beyond. And that's something I've observed in the past couple of months, and I thought it would be cool to talk about, today, how spirituality is not just the magic, it's not a fantasy world, it's none of that, it's real world, only we're awakening to it one step at a time. So,
well, I think the problem is that with most people, you have spiritual experiences, right? And it's all, a good example is, it's almost like when I was in the Army and I was in the reserves. So, like, I had my normal life, and I went to work and did that and took care of my kid and had a normal, quote-unquote, life. And then one weekend out of the month, I would have to go and play soldier. I was a weekend warrior, you know what I mean? And not that I really equate what we're doing 100% to being a warrior, because saying we're warriors means that we have something to fight against. But in the same token, I think that's what happens is people go on retreats or they go to their yoga class or whatever, and then they come back and they're like, oh, my God, real life is here. Do you know what I mean? And I think a lot of times the density that people are in makes it a lot more difficult. And that's where, like, the repetitive routine things that seem like so small, like salt baths and meditating and having crystals and charging your crystals and making sure that you're like drinking good water and like all those things, they seem so small and so insignificant, but they make such a huge difference when you're walking this path. And trust me, I know, because I've done it the good way and I've done it the not so good way, and you can tell the difference. You really can. Like, it's a lot harder to stay in alignment when you're not eating organic foods. I'll be totally honest. Like, I'm fully like a walking example of like what the right way to take care of yourself is and what the wrong way to take care of yourself is, because I've done both. I've done both. So no judgment to anyone, but like, those things are so important. And then I think, like, especially with the meditation, that's one of the things that since I've had a 3-year-old, I really have not done as much. You know what I mean? Not like the silent, go be with yourself, get inside of yourself meditation. Now, like, I can do like active meditations, like when I'm breastfeeding even, I go into like a state of meditation. When I'm like doing dishes, brushing my teeth, like things like that. But like a real like sit there, don't do anything physical, just like meditate. I hadn't done that for a really long time. And when I finally had the chance to do that, like after like so long, it was just amazing and so powerful. And I need to do it more, but I don't know. That's one of those things that's hard for me to do right now. But anyways.
Yes, I agree. I also have observed a broad spectrum of how small things do impact your state of alignment and being and feeling, because I also had to kind of switch to somewhat not very healthy foods for me. and I'm slowly getting back into it. But yes, for sure, do matter. When I feel off, I concentrate on greens, vitamins, nutrients, all of that, and your body literally, it helps you to get better. You just have to feed it the right way, but it will help you to get better emotionally, and realign yourself. And yes, like even meditation, I also haven't really been meditating the past couple of months, but I also have been connecting with nature. I would walk in the nature and ground myself, even in the middle of the city. There is a, garden, like even in New York City, I have a couple of steps here and there in the park, bare feet. So there are ways, and it doesn't have to become magical. It doesn't have to be a theory. Like some people call me, what do they call me? Philosopher. And I think I was a philosopher like 10 years ago.
Right.
Like when I enjoyed philosophizing about what potential I will be doing and how I will be evolving and how other people and how gurus evolve and all that stuff. But now it's part of life. It's no more philosophy. It's real practical life.
Exactly. It's not just knowing it and being able to talk about it. It's about doing it and being it and living it.
Absolutely. And and like you said, dating is not necessarily how would I put it? Like meditation can be done in so many different ways. But main purpose for meditation is not to get downloads, is not to get insight into origin of your planet, is not insight into who is saying what about you, or meeting entities or meeting your past, relatives who've passed. Yeah, some people do that, but from my perception, main thing for meditation is bring yourself into here and now and slow down and be with your body and be with your breath and just slow down and be with yourself here and now. It's actually very simple, right? But very complicated for majority. So meditation, in my view, is for those that are trying to get healthy and wealthy, is be here and now. The rest will come. Like the rest, reasons for meditation that all those experts and gurus do, that's a different story. But to be in connection with yourself and alignment with your heart, with your what feels right.
And you know what? I think that's an important message too. Like, just because you're not a millionaire does not mean you're not in alignment, and just because you're in alignment does not mean you're gonna be a millionaire, guys. Like that's just...
yeah, I agree. Well, and that's what it means, alignment, meaning what is your, and I don't like to say path, but it is a path. Everyone has their own path. So what is the path? Because some are here to create something crazy with a lot of cash. Some are here not. Some are here maybe to create beautiful communities that don't require any money, or combination of funds. Like, it's so many different ways. It's more than anything connecting with what you came here for to do, and how usually comes if you connect to yourself with one step at a time. And sometimes, like, we just pass through this massive transition and change. Sometimes it takes patience, for sure. A lot of times it takes patience to go through transitions, to go through certain changes, because like anything in life, energetically, everything is energetically, you see change doesn't happen overnight. It usually starts with a thought, starts with intention and all that stuff. And another example I want to give for people that are trying to wrap their, hearts and minds around it is just imagine water turning into ice. It still takes time. Like it's a process. And the same with the, alignment, Akka manifestation, that at least in the past, we had to gain that or allow that patience to be part of us. And what I am sensing now and hearing now, we are at a different time. I don't even know what to call. We're moving differently through space right now, I feel. Because we're gaining momentum on this new spiral, I guess, new print that we're creating to move forward. So timing feels very different to me. I don't even know what time anymore, to be honest. Even though I do have a new amazing gig actually in New York that does require me to keep some sort of track of time, it's very different for me. I am not on a schedule like I used to be. I have a lot of flexibility, and also I am in a different state, and I'm in a different kind of a twist on my path, and time completely feels weird to me. I'm not sure, Stephanie, how you're experiencing. I know you're completely but even for me, I don't even know how to grasp time right now, to be honest.
Yeah, it's weird. I want to say for the past 6 years, I have been 6 years, no, not 6 years, 5 years, have been deprogramming from the system, right? So I used to be man, I can't wait till I'm not man, thank God it's Friday, or damn, it's Monday, and I know that it took me a little bit of time, but I even got to the point where I didn't even know what day it was, not what number day of the month, but what day of the week it is. I'd be is it Wednesday? Oh no, it's Saturday. Okay, you know what I mean? And it's so funny because I had this time and a lot of introspection time, a lot of what the hell is going on? Oh my God, is this and it's so funny though, because I was telling you before, it's lined up with my numerology, that those 5 years were supposed to be challenging and introspective and hermit, and that's exactly what they ended up being. And now it's amazing because I feel this huge push to get back into it all. Now, not in the sense that I used to be into, the project management side of it, but, the push to, get back out, around people and to create this network. And I'm not just talking about the feminine frequency network, but just this network in general of people. And to do that, what I'm finding is, oh my gosh, you actually have to go out and be around people to connect with people. You can't just do it via the internet. It only works for so long. So that's kind of what I've been feeling through all of this. And then another thing that's really interesting is I almost feel as we're shifting through this, I'm accessing other timelines simultaneously with this one. And now I don't know if that's something that was happening before and I wasn't consciously aware of, and now I am. But now I'm like totally noticing how like different timelines are created with choices and thoughts and actions.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
I don't know if that answers your question, but
it does. I mean, it does. I understand. Yeah, I understand. I remember one time, I think it was my first time or the second time when I totally skipped 2 days. And you gave me, you laughed at me. I'm like, how can I just skip? I think it was 1 day or maybe 2. I thought it was going to be like Thursday and it was already Saturday. And I just lost 2 days out of my life.
No. And it wasn't even vacation in Nag's Head.
No. I think I was actually creating, doing all of my classes. I was so caught up in creation and art and everything. And I just, and that's how time flies when you're so connected to whatever you're doing and you're enjoying it. And it just doesn't exist anymore.
Definitely.
You just flow through it. And another thing I wanted to bring up is because you brought up being a hermit for the going through your 5-year challenging times is
my break from reality.
Yeah, your break from reality. I feel like for me, because you know how I've always had to juggle, what people call real life and matrix life, I guess, and my internal growth and all the, travels and work, energetic work and everything simultaneously. And just by looking back at my last year and just everything, and I've realized if I continued how I continued, first of all, I don't believe I would have been able to continue. I think I was at the point there where I physically couldn't do it, and my body just stopped, and that's why I had to take a complete year break from like a typical matrix life and become a hermit and create my own, wellness classes and program and drop all of my heavy energetic weight that I was still carrying from other lives, apparently, in this life perhaps, and physically get healthy, all of that. I don't think I would be able to. Like, I wouldn't have been who I am now if not for the past year of being a hermit. I don't see the same outcome. Perhaps Definitely. It would have been something else, but where I'm at right now, I see how everything had to play out the way it had to play out and how it played out. And being a hermit, that's why I would suggest people to, if they have some sort of calling internally, especially right now because we're starting such, amazing beginning of this next chapters. If you have that calling, you totally do it. You will do yourself a favor to do it faster. Perhaps smaller steps or shorter steps or smaller steps, but don't wait longer. Just don't. It's no point to it. Unless, of course, you have some circumstances, you have to rearrange things. Just rearrange things. Start doing the steps. And that's what I realized after going through so many, what would people call disasters, right? Nothing is dramatic as your mind will create. You can drop things. You can do what's right for you. nothing will be worth doing than doing what's right for you. That's the conclusion I have from my last year of dropping everything and doing me and creating everything we've created, Stephanie, and moving forward with that, of course. I just don't think it would be in my power physically to do it. And that's why my body told me, stop it. Don't go any further. No more keynotes on that laptop for any office but yours, Oksana.
Exactly.
I'm so glad I listened to my body and to my soul.
Right.
And my intuition. Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And you know what? Honestly, here's the thing. I think, like I was talking about the timelines, like either way, like in a different life, you probably stayed at that job and were miserable for like another year longer. You know what I mean? Like, and honestly, the only thing that I would say in retrospect to like the past few years is I would have looked at them as more like a vacation than a struggle. Do you know what I mean? Because if my perception of it was, wow, I'm taking a break, this is great, you know what I mean? It would have been so much less of, I don't want to say like a waste of time, but like it's wasted time when you're like, oh man, this sucks, you know what I mean? But luckily there were like a few times where I was there and I just feel like, wow, like, you know what? I could probably have a little bit more money and a little bit more organic foods in my refrigerator, but I don't have to drive to work today and sit in traffic like all those people that are miserable. So there's definitely give and take when it comes to that. But I think it's about like finding out what balance is. And it's funny because my little brother, he used to be like so free spirited and wild. Do you remember Tommy?
Yes.
And I used to tell him, you know what, you don't have to go to college. You don't have to make a whole bunch of money. You can sell T-shirts on the beach if that makes you happy. But I only ask that you have enough money to take care of whatever your needs and wants are. That's all. So whatever you do, whatever you're doing for income, whatever, like make sure that you have enough for whatever it is that you need in your lifestyle. Otherwise, you're going to be miserable. So, and then, you know, what's so funny is me and him totally switched roles because now he's like super responsible. And it's so funny because I look at it and I'm like, dude, Tommy, I remember you when you were running around in your orange booty shorts going to raves.
Oh, this is amazing. Yes. See how life is kind of interesting. Huh?
Yeah, isn't it funny how life works?
Yes. Oh,
but we actually are due for a commercial break. So let's go ahead and do that quickly, and we will be back shortly.
Beautiful.
Are you a mother, father, teacher, healer, trendsetter, or innovator concerned with our future generation? Come join the family at Small Voices, Big World, where we talk to leading experts in child development, care, compassion, friendship, and community. Join us live Saturdays at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Feminine Frequency Radio Network. We hope you join us as we spark new ideas that will shape our future and the small voices that will create this big world.
Hello and welcome. You are now entering the corridors of Twilight Epiphanies Talk Radio with your host, Cindy Magnuson. premiering Thursday evenings, 7 to 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on Feminine Frequency Radio Network, you are invited on a talk radio journey to the center of self. Join us as Cindy guides you, the listeners, in sensory and perception upgrades where revelations and golden epiphanies pierce the veils of illusion. Don't miss this opportunity for your next dose of Twilight Epiphanies.
Feminine Frequency Radio Network hosts shows 7 days a week. Call in to listen live 929-477-1183 and dial 1 to connect to the studio to ask a question, or listen online via blogtalkradio.com/Feminine Frequency Radio Network.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to Organic Frequency Radio. Stephanie and Oksana here.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Organic Frequency Radio Show.
Yeah, so tonight we're talking about functional spirituality. And we were actually just talking about kind of like our own experiences through all of this. We would love for you guys to call in if you have any comments or questions on the topic. We would love to talk to you. The guest call-in number is 929-477-1183. So make sure you give us a call.
Yeah, absolutely. Call us because our main niche of the radio is to be very casual, conversational, casual, especially if we don't have guests. Some of our guests have a lot of information, so we allow them to speak as much as they need to. But a lot of times we just converse, so please feel free to call, and if you feel like, share your story, share your experience, especially through this energetic massive shift of 2017. Of course, there were many, but, you know, those that know that.
Yeah, look at this as like a round table of friends just chatting. That was like one of the main reasons that we even started the show, is because we'd be sitting around like talking and be like, oh my gosh, there are other people that are thinking just like we are. Let's talk let's talk about it on the radio.
Yes. Oh boy, it's been when did we start? It's been 2.5 years ago, or 3?
Yeah.
What was the month?
February. So it's 3 years in February.
Oh, we have to do a party.
We must. Yeah, definitely. Well, and you know what? Getting back kind of to the topic a little bit is, I think one of the most important parts about functioning spiritually is being either physically with or in communication with like other people that are not, I want to go back to, like you said, like not really on the same path, but like have the same I don't even want to say mission. I hate words. It's so hard. The radio
limitation,
so hard now.
Limited
so
words. When
yes.
they, like,
anyways,
I would say, when the person feel you the right way, when they see you the right way, feel you the right way, like you sense
right, or you're at the same
like,
place energetically. They understand you. Even one of the things that I've noticed. Exactly. You don't even have to say the words because they know what you're thinking. It's perfect. But what I've noticed is I more recently have started connecting with amazing women healers, all on their own journeys and all with their own different modalities. And it's amazing because
I feel like we're almost turning into like this family where one person like looks at somebody else and they're like, dude, you might need some healing. And I'm like, yeah, I do. And they're like, okay, I'll help you out. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like this whole like working together network that's so important if we want to, I don't want to say properly, I hate that word, but if we want to transcend the society that we don't like, or transcend the structure that we don't like, so we can get to a place where we consciously create a structure that we do want together. Did I say that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It's pretty much what I'm gathering is, and I believe you and I already had this conversation probably a few times in the past year. It's not one person thing. It's not. It is an individual path, but yet again, as a collective, we're not individual. We are all from the same. We all, in general, function the same. We want the same things. Like, we want to connect with our heart. We want to have beautiful experience here. And of course, I'm generalizing, and I am generalizing, yes, because there are some evilness going on out there that want opposite things. So yes. Yeah. But I'm speaking of those people that you're, Stephanie, referring to as a community, like as you feel like they are vibing on your level, their value are similar, then connection is a beautiful thing. I've realized so, like the hard way, I guess, and the good way, because I did have people that picked me up at the moment where I needed to be supported a bit.
Right.
And for me, learning...
And that's okay.
Because for me, I'm not sure, Steph, for you, I believe you have some sort of similarity there too, but I couldn't receive.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel good. It really felt like I'm doing something wrong when I'm asking for help. It felt like I'm not good enough. It felt like, why couldn't I do it myself? What did I do wrong? I'm not deserving to receive help. I'm like, even though, I typically am humble when I receive help, but I feel like I don't deserve, whatever word that means, placed in a position where I had no choice but to receive help. And I worked on my emotion about receiving it, because I knew that the balance had to come. I cannot just give and give, because it doesn't work like that. To be able to give properly, you have to be able to receive properly. So you feel good about both actions. And that, for me, was a huge lesson to receive, because when, including you, Stephanie, like, there were a number of people who helped me, and it touched me to the core. Like, it's like I even now have chills and about to start crying, because without those people in my life, like, I wouldn't learn how to receive, and two, maybe I wouldn't even be in life. I don't even have a clue, So it's so important to be able to do both, receive and give. And more you understand, give and receive, more we are on a level of just helping each other. It's not about gaining money. It's not about even gaining anything. When you are able to freely give, and perhaps that was my problem too, maybe perhaps I wasn't able to give freely. Maybe I gave, but I wasn't at the place of that complete detachment. Here's, piece of bread. I don't need anything from you, period. But when I was placed in a position of receiving, now I am full in a position to give without asking back. So for me, it's a very, very powerful experience. Very powerful. And
definitely.
And now I know who my family is, literally. I know who has my back. At least up to now, you know?
Yeah, dude, you're so right. It's receiving is something that I was blocked to for a really long time. And I think it was because of the mindset that I had that I had to always be strong. And I don't know where that came from. I do know that a lot of it was my own kind of need to be on my own 2 feet and not have to worry about someone else to take care of me because of trust. Like I could never trust that I could count on people to do pretty much anything. So I would just make sure that I did everything myself. And even if it was like half-assed done, at least like I had done it. So I couldn't be mad at anybody about it. But like generally, like I always had this philosophy, like I'm going to do it myself because if I do it myself, it'll get done right. And if I let someone else do it, then it's not going to work. And so I think, first of all, for me, it's about releasing the need for control, the need for perfection.
You just said it. The same here, control.
Just letting those things go because, like, dude, what is perfect? Nothing. Everybody's definition of what something's idea of perfection is different. So, like, if we could stop trying to strive for the perfect ideal and just be like the perfect version of ourselves, which is perfectly imperfect, then I think things definitely start to flow a little bit better. Another thing for me was I felt, and this is like totally egoic, I always felt, I don't know how to say this without sounding like an ass. I always felt very good when I was able to help someone, but I think it was almost, I don't know, it wasn't always because I wanted to just help. It would be because, like, I wanted to have fun, and if you're with me and I want to go out to eat and you don't have money, well, that'll ruin my fun if I don't just pay for you to go too.
So pretty much you had like to keep a company, to entertain, keep a company. I'm not sure how to.
Well, it's not even that I could have gone by myself to the restaurant, but you were around and you were
yourself.
Yeah, like you're holding me up. You're messing up my process because I want to go out to eat and I can't, so now I'm not to pay for you. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like that. So that's my personal issues with that. But I've been working on that. Receiving is something that I've been working on a lot just because I have so many blocks to it. And I know that that's what's been holding me back. And I know that to be able to receive, I have to be open to being around people.
Well, you just said it. It might be fun.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, for me, after being a hermit for about a year with a lot of crazy experiences, I'm back with people, but with a different way, different me, different type of people, different type of situation. So, yeah, we do tend to attract. We do attract. Like when we're aligned, we do attract what we need. I think last year, like I can't even compare last year to the typical because last year was such a drop year for me. Everything had to be dropped. For many people, we were dropping weight, period.
Right.
Whatever it was. So I think yesterday, previous year, 2017, was a year of alignment to your weight, to what's not serving you. And if we aligned to that, then right now we are emerging lighter.
Right.
So last year was very different. I mean, even though, number of years before was already rough, challenging, difficult, stressful, but last year was the kind of like a culmination of the last.
Was the tower. Dude, it was totally the tower in the tarot deck.
Tower.
How it's like, how everything has to crumble. And you know what, though? Think about it. So had we been like, okay, here's everything I own. Here's my job. Here's my income source. Here's like everything. You can have it. Take it.
All the titles, right? All the possessions.
Right,
titles.
Without having the experience of losing it, I wonder if everything would have came faster. Seriously,
I don't know.
Like all the good stuff. Like is us holding on to like the past and things that we're familiar with? Does that slow down? That slows down our progress. So I think that's why in the last year everything has been like boom, boom, boom. Like whether you want to give it up or not, we're taking it.
I know. Like Band-Aid off fast.
Yes. But
it's bleeding.
I guess it is
it's off.
I know. Like please rip it off fast, not slow.
Oh my gosh, yes. I'm so glad the bleeding kind of stopped.
Right, there's some stabbing going on. We're good. We're definitely healing at this point.
I agree with you. I do believe we either slow it down or we make it more miserable. If we hang on to all these possessions, if we hang on to those emotions, like it just makes it more draining and painful, and like it's suffering. That's the samsara wheel. It's the suffering that we continue to do, and when we realize, like you mentioned earlier today, Steph, that it's just if we could just shift the mindset just a little bit from, oh my God, this is horrible, this is miserable, to, all right, this is the game I'm playing right now. So even though the situation is challenging, yes, but by tensing your body, by hanging on, by pushing, that creates actually a very stagnant energy. And when the energy is stiff and stagnant internally, and it creates the same externally, it's a slower, more painful process. And if we open our fingers, we open our palm, we allow that pencil to fall on the floor, if we relax our body, if we maybe have a little bit more smiles on our faces, the process will be less painful, perhaps more smooth and more aligned. I'm not saying things will be flowery and all that stuff, but it will be more pleasant than holding on and being tense and, stressed and all that stuff. It's almost like you're creating your own experience. That's what it is. It's like the blueprint, big points are there. Blueprint has been, right now it's a new story, but before blueprint is there, it's just a matter of how are you allowing and willing for your being to go through this experience that's been already prepared. Of course, everyone will be having their own perceptions about blueprint and manifestation alignment. That's why we evolve on different levels, with different agendas on different paths, because we all have our own perception of our own evolution. But from what I know, from my own personal experience, we do walk certain blueprint, and we do have our personal alignment with that blueprint.
Mhm. And it's funny because, like, I always battle with this, and the battle that I have with, like, okay, like, so all right, so we have this plan, or we have this game board in front of us, right? And it's like, okay, your main goal is to get from A to Z, but there's all these stops along the way. How many of these stops are you going to take? How like straight of a path are you going to go? And I guess my problem with it is if I have free will control over my reality, my destiny, shouldn't I be able to change those things? Shouldn't I be able to rewrite that story? Like, and this is why I say that, because prime example is this year I am in a 1-9 year, and that can be transmuted to a 10. So because I know that I'm in a 1-9, and a 1 is you're all about self and self-preservation, and 9 is you're all about others and taking care of humanity and the group. And if you transmute that, you can turn that into a 10, and then it becomes the sun, which is like you master self and all that stuff, whatever, which is great. Go ahead. Were you going to say something?
No, you continue. You continue, and then I'll add.
Okay, cool. So I guess my thing is how much of it is me rewriting the story versus me just being in alignment with what my story is. Go.
3, 2, 1.
Yes, go.
I'm not sure about rewriting it, quite honestly. But yet again, we all evolve, I evolve, and all that stuff. There's essence, right? Energy is always present. Like we have from the beginning of our stories, like the beginning of time when you started writing your story, right? That story essence, that energy continues forward. And what free will does is it allows, I believe, who knows, of course, it allows for you to do your own twist to stories, maybe add little stories here and there. I'm sure I've done it so many times. Even this time, like, how many more stories do I need to add? But who knows? Maybe they're all part of my plan that I wanted to create. But the free will typically is the one that, either delays us to get to the next bus stop, or it creates maybe even more pain, or perhaps sometimes it creates, who knows, like something that like the free will, it's kind of like you're giving this free will to override, maybe, not necessarily override, or maybe add and change, but ultimately free will cannot override what you, not in the avatar, but what you beyond avatar already created and laid out self. And what we did now, we've connected to all of our lives, we've brought it all together so we don't have to continue that essence. We can say, okay, I've got it all, it's here, I'm done with that story or with those stories. And it has to be apparently conscious choice. And maybe not conscious. For me, it kind of has to be conscious too, very much, because I was very obstinate to not continue with the cycles anymore. And perhaps I was already set up to not continue. That's another thing to contemplate. And free will maybe was something that, because free will here right now is to continue the cycle. That's my kind of view on this. If my free will wanted to, for example, stay maybe in Washington, D.C., and maybe go back to an opportunity that I've done already in the past, in fact, 7 years ago, it would have been a different one, but it was it's definitely very similar steps. And then personal steps could have been similar too. So, but consciously, and first of all, of course, I sat with that internally, with my intuition, my alignment, and that path didn't feel right to me. And it actually didn't even blend out. It didn't even work, even if I thought it would be fine. So for me, it didn't feel right, and it wasn't the right timing for it either. So that's what I would say is free will would be one more connected to even ego self. And when we align truly with what feels right, and of course, sometimes, like this past year, certain things felt somewhat right, and you know what I mean, they had to happen even though they felt right, but they were painful, but yet again, they had to happen, so I would feel right and good now. The drop of the waves had to happen. So, yes, sometimes it feels right, so it had to be, part of the plan. That's weird. So I think it's all about tuning in with the heart, because heart will be at peace when it's the right thing. Ultimately, it will be at peace. There will not be a heartache. There will not be, none of that. From all the things I've gone through, that's my conclusion. And now my barometer is only going to be my heart.
Right.
And of course, it may, who knows what will happen, what will be the next cycle or whatever. But at the moment, this is my compass. And I think overriding might be is the ego part. I don't know. No, true, darling. That's kind of what I'm contemplating about too myself here. I'm not, this time around, I'm not a psychic. I don't do tarot. I don't do any of that. I only know, connect, download, communicate.
Yes.
And then move.
Yeah.
My body.
Well, I think it'll be really interesting when we get on Natty Astrology Deli to talk about kind of like our stories, and then maybe we should have Danielle and Thomas come back on with Hugs, because they do the gene keys and the human design and all that stuff. I would love to ask them that question, like, how much of that can you actually change, if any?
Exactly. And, look at all of the already preset information we have about everything. So, yeah, what is free will, right? It's a good question. And, yeah, I would love to have them back because we are starting a new cycle, so it would be very interesting to see what they can say based on human design and gene key charts and programs, information.
Right.
Great idea. Well,
it is time for another commercial, actually.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and do a quick commercial break, and we will be right back.
Beautiful.
Hello and welcome. You are now entering the corridors of Twilight Epiphanies Talk Radio with your host, Cindy Magnuson, premiering Thursday evenings, 7 to 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on Feminine Frequency Radio Network. You are invited on a talk radio journey to the center of self. Join us as Cindy guides you, the listeners, in sensory and perception upgrades where revelations and golden epiphanies pierce the veils of illusion. Don't miss this opportunity for your next dose of Twilight Epiphanies.
Feminine Frequency Radio Network hosts shows 7 days a week. Call in to listen live 929-477-1183 and dial 1 to connect to the studio to ask a question, or listen online via blogtalkradio.com/Feminine Frequency Radio Network.
Are you a mother, father, teacher, healer, trendsetter, or innovator concerned with our future generation? Come join the family at Small Voices, Big World, where we talk to leading experts in child development, care, compassion, friendship, and community. Join us live Saturdays at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Feminine Frequency Radio Network. We hope you join us as we spark new ideas that will shape our future and the small voices that will create this big world.
Welcome back to Organic Frequency Radio. Stephanie here. Oksana is still there.
I'm here, East Coast. Check.
Wonderful. Yeah, representing the West Coast over here.
Love from
East Coast to West Coast. There we go. Getting our energy all over the country.
And the world.
I cut you off, right? I cut you off for a commercial. Sorry about that. You can go ahead and get back into what you were talking about.
Oh, no worries. We always love our commercials. Yes. Let's see. Functional spirituality. We were talking about functional spirituality. And just briefly, if you just tuned in to the radio, what we are saying is spirituality is life. It's not just a retreat. It's not just a guru that is talking about, elevating somewhere during meditation. It's not that. It's becoming conscious of yourself every day, walking day, and really starting to be self-aware, not only what you are wearing every day and what's around you, but also what's going on inside of you. That's what, to me, is spirituality, is where you truly start, really sinking into yourself and understanding, okay, if I am not happy about something, why is this happening? Why is certain situations happening to me constantly? Why is this repeating? So that's what it is. It's pretty much saying I will be aware of myself, how my emotions respond to people's actions, how I project myself on people, everything. So stop pointing fingers at others and look at yourself, because quantum physics confirms that we see reality as we are, not as it is. So that's what we were talking about. And Stephanie and I, we are talking about our personal experiences, how we go through life, flow through life, and yet continuing our spiritual evolution, which means pretty much everything, So what do we do, right? We stopped at where we start talking about free will and the whole blueprint that we lay out before we enter the avatar bodies, our physical experience here, at least this experience. We're not talking about other experiences, just this experience in third / fourth / potentially fifth dimension at the moment. I would say more fourth dimension right now, because a lot of us are living in fifth dimension, but it's a different ball game, I believe. We're still here more on a fourth dimension. The Earth is still on fourth dimension, and how do we do it? Yeah, how do we do it? And do we play with the free will, or we continue our path, right? So, so let's see. I don't even know what I can say as an example of free will for my life, especially in the past year. I think I need a little bit more time for that to kind of comprehend whether any of my free will was present in the past year.
Right.
Because I'm not, if any of our listeners have been on other shows tuning in, we've been having a couple of readings from a couple of other hosts on our Feminine Frequency radio network, and I've had a couple of readings as well that were niched more toward the past year. And I've been told that whatever happened to me, perhaps a door was left open where I still was, like, my energy wasn't fully intact. I guess I still had some door open in regards to weaknesses of mine that I, still had to address in my state of being. Or perhaps it was there for a reason. So I would face what I need to face. I would realize what I needed to realize, so I would be at the place where I'm at now. And something I'm still digesting, and not necessarily digesting kind of actively, but just as it comes to me, right? I don't think it's important for me to know if I don't come to that, you know. It will come to me.
Right.
But as of right now, I sense everything that did happen, it has to happen like that. And I'm actually, on a big level, thankful for that. I'd rather be done with what I need to be done, you know, and move forward and create and start this new amazing path, creating communities on the same level, a heartfelt, felt hard level, then continuing this cycle of that, you know?
Yeah,
so,
you know what? I definitely feel like all of the things that are going on now are related to finishing up, like you were saying. Like, it might seem like it's difficult, but if there's a lot of stuff that you needed to finish up, experience, whatever, then, like, I think this is the time to do it with the energies that are going on now. And I can't even, like, sit here and be like, oh, well, all these planets are in retrograde and blah, blah, blah. I don't even know, like, exactly what's happening. But I do know that, like, the energy is crazy right now. And it's time to, the reason that we went through all those terrible things was so we could get to the place where we are now, so we could deal with all of these energies. Because without going through all those experiences, releasing all those things, coming to the place of, I don't want to say like understanding, but like coming to that place of knowing who you are inside, like it took all of those things to be able to get to that place. So I think that's one of the things where they're like, just be grateful for everything, even though it seems like it's a bad thing, it's probably for the best, blah, blah, blah. So just remembering like that all of this is experience, and this is a really, really, really amazing time to be alive, to be incarnated as a human, I think helps get through it a lot.
Yes. And it's very empowering to see everyone, like even on social media, see everyone supporting each other. Because I understand a lot of people have no freaking clue, even though their bodies feel it, but mentally they're just not in that state yet. But those that are aware, it's so powerful when we just simply as posts, you know, because we're doing it for each other. And like sometimes I look at posts and like it melts my heart, because I know how difficult this time was and how all of us really still try to help each other. Maybe just with small words here and there over internet or whatever, but it's empowering, and it melts my heart, you know, that there are people there that, like we've discussed, they're there, they get it, and they want to support, they want to help without gaining anything. And that's how we receive that balance. That internal balance is, one, we're dropping that weight, emotional weight. If you need to drop financial weight, here I am, or you need to drop possession weight, do that. Do it. Do whatever you need, but make sure you are aware you're doing it. And when you drop that, you start understanding the balance between giving, receiving as well, because ultimately that is that balance with, like understanding yourself, meaning you are internally balanced, you are content, you're balanced, and you creating alignment with that balance.
Right.
Am I wearing off? I think, yeah. Because that's what.
No, I think you're right.
you know, it took me to really go through that darkness to drop it, to drop whatever I was holding on to. That pushed me into a receiving mode where I never truly experienced it that way. And right now, I'm fully in a place of okayness. Whatever it is, you know, I am okay. You know?
Exactly. And really, like, if we look at it, like we always say, like, we're this infinite soul and we're energy, and energy cannot be created or destroyed. Like, what can really hurt you? What you really are. Like, not you, this physical body, not you, Oksana, not me, Stephanie, not you, whoever you are listening. Not your mind, not your body, not that. Like, the essence of who you really are, what you really are, cannot really be harmed.
Beautiful.
So there's nothing to fear.
Yeah. And that is a beautiful statement to finish our radio show with.
Yeah, definitely.
We have about.
So I just wanted to leave like a note on Feminine Frequency Radio Network, because we've been doing a lot of work kind of on the back end of that. We have new shows starting in September, so make sure you check out the Facebook page so you can check out our new shows. We're going to have some podcasts in September, so it's getting really exciting over here. But we also wanted to kind of put it out there on the airwaves that if you are wanting to connect with the radio network, whether you're a musician and you want to let us use your music, or you are interested in having a podcast or being a blogger on the website, like, make sure you connect with us. And you can do that at Feminine Frequency Radio Network at gmail.com. And then if you wanted to reach me and Oksana, you can reach us at Organic Frequency Radio at gmail.com. But make sure you definitely connect with us. Like, we'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you'd like to talk about. We want to know what you're going through during this shift too, because our stories are so powerful and they help other people. So definitely connect with us.
Agree, fully agree. Our intent for the radio is connection and share. So, and even when you call in, you can be anonymous. You don't have to say your name. But I know that when you share your story, first of all, you're healing yourself, because when you're speaking, you're releasing, and you're not only helping yourself to heal, but also someone else who's going perhaps through a similar type of experience. So I think sharing our stories is extremely powerful. And just FYI, Stephanie and I, we've been actually very private people. At least me, I was very private for many, 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 many years. And I've realized that becoming vulnerable and really just speaking about yourself. And you don't have to speak about the most dark moments or darkest secrets or whatever, but when you speak about your experience, you are healing yourself and you are becoming vulnerable, which is a level of healing and a very powerful level of healing. So you're becoming more relaxed with yourself. You're becoming more relaxed in your body, and you're simply becoming more happy, and you're evolving vibrationally, lighter. So please call.
Yes.
Please call.
Yeah, definitely get in touch with us. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to hear from you because this is about community and this is about us all evolving together.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And consciously, I hate saying evolving, consciously co-creating together.
Beautiful, beautiful. And if you feel like moving your body, and if you feel like, in fact, detaching, do your last detaching from whatever it is, emotional pain or anything, connect to my classes online. There's a lot of movement classes. There's a lot of meditation classes. You can find them on vimeo.com/Oksana Ganchar /VOD_pages. Connect to my classes there and utilize them. A lot of people are saying that, yes, emotional work through sitting and meditation, through emotional work is very important. I've done it myself. You have to sit there and go deep into yourself if you have a calling, but sometimes you gotta move. You gotta move your energy to completely shed that essence, pretty much. That last pieces of emotional pain. Mm-hmm.
And you know what? It's so funny that you say that because I actually did a session with Alice a couple weeks ago, and she said that I needed to get back into more like tribal, rhythmic, drum beat dance movements. So I've got to connect with you on that.
Nice. I cannot wait to come to the beach and do some drumming.
Dude, heck yeah. It's going to be great.
Yeah. I'll be traveling.
Actually, you know what?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to a ceremony next Sunday on the beach where they do like a drum circle in Huntington Beach. Mm-hmm. So I will videotape it and I will send it to you with love.
Yes. I love it. Please do. I cannot wait to see you dance to the drums on the beach.
I know, right?
Yes.
So,
absolutely.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for listening. We're going to cut out a little bit early tonight. We will be back with you next Sunday. I'm sorry, it's not Sunday. It's Monday. See, I forget the days. Next Monday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you check us out. And then make sure you check out the other shows on Feminine Frequency Radio Network. And you can find that on blogtalkradio.com/Feminine Frequency Radio Network. And you can also find the shows on iTunes if you search Feminine Frequency Radio Network.
Indeed. Well, thank you, everybody. Join us and
we love you. We'll be back next week.
Beautiful night. We love you. We wish you the best. We wish you all the beauties in the world. I love you, Stephanie. You have a beautiful
night.
Love
to you all. Love you too.
Yes.
Bye.
Chat on Monday. Bye, everyone.